mobile banking, which may seem like an odd thing to say at a branch conference, but it's absolutely true. I know there's people here from Barclays. Give yourselves a big hand. I'm a Barclays customer. Your mobile banking app is absolutely fantastic, in my personal opinion. But it does have limitations. I want to share a story with you. 2 years ago, in what can only be described as a moment of madness, I bought a karaoke system, full-on professional karaoke system. It had speakers 4 times the size of the ones around the room. Now, I need to be honest, in those 2 years, it has just sat in my house, taking up space. So I finally persuaded my wife we should stick it on eBay, sell it, send it off to a home where it would get more use. And last weekend, guy turned up with his van, packed all this kit into it, and he gave me £400. And I don't know about you, but that's the only media input socket on my mobile phone. So I took that £400 and I put it in a drawer, and I thought I'll come back to it later. If you are a regular attender at conferences like this over the years, you will have seen this slide in many variations before. And as Rich said, it's become something of a cliche, the Mark Twain quote. But there's a reason cliches become cliches. It's because they're largely true, apart from perhaps in Sweden. All the data shows us that even with COVID, the volume of banknotes in the world continues to go up. Looking at just the Fed, the ECB, and the Bank of England, there is a continuous steady uptick in banknotes. Across those 3 markets, that represents something like 80 billion banknotes today. But I can almost hear you sighing, I know, this is not all transactional cash. Much of it is under the bed in safety deposit boxes. But even if we take the most conservative estimates, 20% of that cash is transactional. That's still 16 billion banknotes changing hands every day across the US, Europe, and the UK. And yet, if you don't work in this industry, or for a company like mine, all the press coverage you see says, cashless this, cash is dead, cash is going away. Wouldn't we be living in a better world if it was all digital and electronic? Who's pushing that narrative? Because these headlines make me sad. Because there are people in our society, not just who make a choice to pay in cash, but for them, it's their only choice. And if that makes me sad, this makes me angry. This was taken in my local supermarket in Scotland just a couple of weeks ago. Card only. It's safer and it's quicker. Really? It's safer. Surely this isn't going back to the World Health Authority's misquoted statement from the COVID era that somehow cash was dangerous, a transmitter of disease. I mean, all the research has proven the PIN pad or the Pay Now button that we all touch is a greater transmitter of viruses. And let me ask you this, when was the last time anybody older than 4 years old licked a banknote? So if it's not a disease issue, maybe it's a security issue. This is a story recently, earlier this year, in the UK, Evening Standard, there was a spate of theft of mobile phones from the lockers in gyms. And through some very clever, bad people, they cloned the phone, gained access to the mobile banking apps on the phones. And in the time it took these ladies to finish their workout, the thieves not only emptied their current accounts, they emptied their deposit accounts and their ISAs, all in the time it took to finish their workout. If you steal my cash, you've got my cash, 40, 50, 60 pounds, but that's the extent of my liability. So perhaps cards, digital, aren't necessarily safer or more secure. What about quicker? We've all shopped in supermarkets. Really